Al Sharpton makes his statement after the Trump assassination. And I also have some CNN footage of him ripping on, asking on whether if they're going to replace Biden or not. You know, he's a radical. He's a radical. He's also been, a bit chummy with Trump at times. His voice gets a little low in this recording with apologies. Just be patient with him. He's kind of having a Zen moment. I want to give him his mourning. Okay. I don't shoot the wounded. We don't mock people and kick them while they're down. Welcome to Doug in Exile with Al Sharpton. Here's his recording.
I, like most of you, wake up this morning shaken and disturbed about the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump yesterday.
We'll have more of that statement by Al Sharpton. But first, here's Al Sharpton just a few days before on his network talking about Biden.
Joe Biden cannot win based on his performance, based on his age, based on the perception that he is too old to have the job.
Oh, yeah. They're asking the tough questions now. Where were they a year ago when he got his over 1,000 delegates that voted for him? They were ready to push him through. They're still ready to drag his body over the finish line because it's about power. We've said this before. Democrats are just about power. Its ends justify the means. Any means necessary. They don't care if Biden dies, they'll still vote for him.
And that's what you're hearing from Democrats who, again, like and admire Joe Biden, think he's done a great job as president, appreciate his service.
They all have to say that. As they say, like, Biden can't do it, we have to make him step down. They have to all check the box of he's a hero, he really did great, because they can't admit they were wrong about going with him in the first place, even though he had just as many signs of Parkinson's. Anyone with a brain in their head would have seen it. They chose not to because they saw that power at the end that they wanted so bad.
They just look out on the horizon and they say, if he goes down, he may take us down with him. The Senate, the House, open that up to perhaps Supreme Court seats down the road.
Yes. Amen. They're telling us. I love hearing it from Democrats at MSNBC. The Senate, the House, the Supreme Court, it's ours.
There is deep concern, and I know you're hearing it too, that Joe Biden could lose it all for Democrats.
I'm hearing it, yes, but I'm also hearing not so fast, because if not Biden, then how do we do a transition that doesn't put us in a more dangerous position?
How can there be a more dangerous position than leaving Biden in office? And yes, good for us that we're going to get it's a mission from him that we're going to get the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. Now here's more of his confession where he's bringing it back down.
Despite whatever political views or even personal views we have, this kind of political violence traumatizes all of us and traumatizes the nation. It is inexcusable and unjustifiable. And before we start giving into conspiracy theories, we need to check our own sense of humanity. Because if we're not outraged at this kind of behavior, no matter who the target, then there's something wrong with us.
I do like introspection when he says there's something wrong with us. I'd almost rather him say there's something wrong with me. We have to all look inside, okay? But I don't blame both sides equally. No. This is all on the Democrats, the right wing. Don't give us both of this stuff. We are all fallen equally, but the Republicans flat out are not as violent or radical or lunatic as the left.
That is saying to me, and you cannot win Wisconsin without Milwaukee and black turnout. And they were saying to me, well, we got questions about Biden's age, but where do we go? And are they going to try to undermine Kamala Harris?
And he's already floating up Kamala Harris saying, don't undermine her. This is a black woman and you owe us. And on another note, Kamala Harris, she's going to have a real hard time if she thinks she's going to be president after the assassination attempt on Trump, because she's one of the ones that was stoking violence at Black Lives Matter, the BLM riots, telling Steve Colbert they shouldn't stop They won't stop. They don't stop. They shouldn't stop. That's violent rhetoric that could easily fall out of fashion within our politics starting this week. And we have them. We have Democrats doing this now for 8 years, normalizing violence and assassination talk, just lowering and lowering the bar, making it more and more acceptable. Here's Al Sharpton.
We must not become so vile that we in any way seek to rationalize, let's not justify, such inhumanity to man. How you and I react and behave in times like this tells us who we really are at this stage in our life. I have fought, debated, even marched on Donald Trump the last 40 years. I've opposed him, vociferously opposed his politics in the last 15 years.
Your whole party has not only vociferously opposed him, they said he was an existential threat. Now, I'm not hanging that on Al Sharpton. I don't specifically have a quote from him, so I want to be careful not to do it. But his network, MSNBC, almost all of the talent saying dangerous things about Trump. The number one network that put that stuff out was MSNBC. They owe America an apology and an explanation. And some people should be fired.
I think that if we're talking a coalition, you've got to remember the basic roots of that coalition, Black, Latinos, and labor. You can't just take for granted we're going to go where some people just want to go and abandon someone who's been with us.
Now, don't forget who took you to the dance. Don't go dancing with other people. He's saying, we brought you here, and now we are forcing you to go along with being loyal back to us. This is payback. This is how this block acts as they go, now you owe us. This is true of many lobbyists and groups and coalitions, even on the right. I'm a pro-lifer, and we're watching the pro-life, many of our tenets that we want to see in the Republican platform get thrown away. And the pro-lifers go, hey, don't forget, we were here when we put Trump in office the first time, and now you're saying this is a dangerous issue and we're done with it. So this is how politics works, guys. You get together groups, big voting blocks, and then they start pushing their weight around. But Democrats are in big trouble as they figure out their platform, because they have so many conflicting groups now, these very hypersensitive. They've got the pro-Israel Jews. They've got the pro-Palestinian Palestinian side, their war with Israel. They've got the trans group that want it specifically spelled out, all of their rights in their platform. They've got the environmentalists that want to attack energy. They've just the Black Caucus. They've got every race has their own group, and they all want their airtime. And even now, right now, this very second, you can just hear the Democrat Party re-scrubbing and changing their platform, removing all the hateful rhetoric about Trump, removing that he's a threat to democracy. It's the end of democracy. Democracy's on the ballot. He's an existential threat. That's Biden has tweeted that now over 10 times in the last year. Existential threat, existential threat. We lose if he wins. We lose everything, he said. They're taking all of that out of their platform right now, too.
Even when he would befriend and act friendly toward us on some things, came to National Action Network's convention, I was never aligned with his thoughts. But I never would wish any harm on him, his family, or even those connected to him. You beat people at the polls, not getting on a poll, shooting at them. You have a democracy based on ballots, not bullets.
This is also wise, and of course, he doesn't need to tell Republicans this. He really needs to tell his own party this, that we don't do things with violence. In fact, politics is a replacement for violence. So the reason why we love politics so much and we engage in them so much, that is, we debate, we talk, we vote, we push, we pull. We don't act out with the fist. we do not take out a political opponent, because it comes into fashion. You know, President Garfield has an assassination attempt on him. President Reagan had an assassination attempt on him. You know, Abe Lincoln was actually assassinated. JFK was assassinated. Um, oh, Martin Luther King assassinated. You know, Gerald Ford had 2 assassination attempts on him in 1975, 17 days apart. So it kind of fell out of the public consciousness, and now the Democrats over the last 8 years have put it back in, and we have to go back to that idea of, we don't solve politics with violence, assassinations, or riots, or damaging property. You solve it at the vote box.
I looked at the press conference last night and said, where are the black reporters? I mean, we're looking at all whites questioning Biden, and black voters supposed to just get in line.
That never occurred to me that there were only white press members were allowed to ask Biden questions. But this is Reverend Al Sharpton's job, is to say, where's the black reporters? As if blacks are going to ask different questions because of their skin color, which I always found very strange, that they are just seen purely as an amount of melanin in the skin, purely as external features, genetics. This is actually the left's version of racism. It is racism.
So I think that a lot of the people that are stepping out there taking things for granted. You notice that maybe only one member of the Congressional Black Caucus has even said Biden ought to step aside.
Yeah, the Black Caucus is so loyal. Only one has turned on Biden. They're going to be the last to go because they want that power. This isn't about blacks, by the way. This is about the Black Caucus, which is a Democrat, leftist, hard socialist group. Okay. And they want their power as a voting bloc. And only one has peeled off so far, though Biden, common sense tells everyone else it is time to jump ship. You're having more and more people in the Democrat Party saying, it was just one kid saying the emperor has no clothes. The emperor's naked. Now you have your entire party, huge chunks of it falling away, going, the emperor's naked. I haven't gone over the George Clooney op-ed piece that he wrote for the New York Times, but George Clooney essentially said Biden has to step down. He's not capable of being president. Because how does that president make you feel, that Biden's in control after the Trump assassination attempt? Anybody feel comfortable? Anyone here?
Don't forget, it was the stonewall of the black vote and then the Latino vote that put Biden in nomination.
All right. It's time. It's payback time. We get it.
And for us to be out of these discussions, I think is offensive and elitist.
Oh, I love it when a Democrat is calling another Democrat offensive and elitist. By the way, Al Sharpton, you are in the offensive elitist party. Elites are Democrats. They walk around and wear it like a badge. To them, it's morality. This is their religion.
I sincerely pray for Donald Trump's full recovery, including recovering from the trauma of this.
And the biggest trauma came from MSNBC, what you guys did, and the Biden administration. Trump goes through 8 years of verbal abuse. Doesn't make him innocent, doesn't mean he doesn't punch back sometimes, but by far, no one has a 98% negative fire hose against him. It's not even close between Trump and Biden. Trump has it worse.
As we go forth in this election, that we do it on policy and beliefs and what we sincerely believe is best for the nation, and not give in to wild and unjustifiable behavior on either side of the political spectrum.
Don't give me this either side stuff. You know, this is, they like saying, oh, the both side, either side. That's the same thing as saying all lives matter to a Black Lives Matter person. Fine. All sides, all sides. No, it's not all sides. It's, if you want to stop outrageous behavior, stop trying to shoot our candidates.
Can we really see that we are not part of the problem?
And I will amen to that. Can we not see clearly that we are part of the problem? I hope he's making a general statement about the fallen nature of man's heart and that we're prone to violence. If you have a political philosophy that is pragmatism, that is the ends justify any means, violence is one of those means. And Republicans and conservatives, especially conservatives, believe in proper means and proper ends, but you can't remove those proper means. It was the philosopher Rousseau that didn't believe in that invisible law. Because they're materialist, atheistic, they don't believe in those immaterial qualities. And we have to turn away from that. And the Democrat Party has to turn away from that. I'm Doug in exile.